Assalamu alaikum. When we are young, we imagine being part of a happy marriage, both parents parenting the children, it's shared role, there's a lot of love shared between. People don't choose to be single parents, but sometimes things are very difficult. Effort needs to be made to try and improve the relationship. However, sometimes decisions have to be made. Single parenting is a lifestyle within its own right. When you're single parenting, you don't just take on the responsibility of the children, you need to take responsibility of the home, the finance, managing any things that go wrong within the home, running the kids to school and back if there's, young children involved. Initially, this burden was once shared, and now it's not. Although the parent is really busy with the children, they still experience loneliness and loss. After all, they've lost a lifestyle. They've lost a partner that they once loved. They may have even lost their health in the process of the breakup, or even they had issues with their own mental health. Whatever the case, there is a big hole left in their life as well, and to some extent, it's a form of grief as well. The stigma in society causes a lot of unnecessary grief for the single parent. They are constantly trying to deal with guilt, which is kind of put upon them as the burden of the stigma from society. And this eventually impacts their own emotional well-being. It is a new way of life, and it will take time to get used to this new way of life and to find ways of managing on your own. But you have to think positive and think of it as an opportunity to rewrite your future, to be able to aim and see a future that maybe you hadn't seen before. It's a time to go back to some of the ambitions you may have had, but obviously bearing in mind that you've still got the children that you need to look after. It's a time to look ahead rather than look at the past. It's also a time to forgive, to look after yourself and forgive for any of the pain that you have received. Until you let go, it's going to be very hard to move on. Working with a lot of single parents, they've obviously put together their own way of working, but just a few points from what I've learned from them. You can set goals for yourself on a day-to-day basis. Sometimes if you've got something to aim for within a day, it helps you to feel that you've accomplished something. If there aren't any goals, every day seems to be a mundane repetition. Try and develop, if there isn't, a network of single parents where you can bounce off ideas from each other if you need to know where something is or how you can get hold of something, or, who babysits in the area. It's very helpful to have a network of single parents. And it may even be helpful if you need help babysitting yourself, that you could set up kind of like a rota system where you can help each other out in managing the children for a little while you get me time. What you don't want to do is not reach out to anyone and eventually find yourself getting very worn out and struggling, because that's not going to be helpful for the children. We're not perfect. So striving for perfection when you have a lot of responsibilities is putting a lot of pressure on yourself. And that's something to consider when setting your day-to-day tasks. Make sure you create time and space for yourself within the home. So you can have a particular corner of the room or a particular part of the house or even a bedroom where it's timeout. And timeout doesn't mean it's a negative thing. If you show your children that mummy needs a bit of time out, mummy needs to go and relax, or mummy needs to calm down because she's upset, the children will eventually understand that it's okay to take yourself out of a difficult situation. It's okay to go and recuperate. It's normal. And if you do that, it will work for you in the sense that you end up getting a bit of a break when you come back to whatever the task is, whether you're teaching the children something. Whatever the case, when you come back to that, you will feel so much more refreshed and able to continue. So the timeout space also works as kind of a self-soothing thing. So for the children, when they know that they're really overwhelmed, it's really good for them to be able to take themselves into this timeout space and calm down. However, you do need to obviously put some ground rules. If they're very young kids, maybe put something around this timeout space so they know that this is now sectioned off. Maybe it's chairs or something, and tell them, Mummy will come back in 5 minutes. This also teaches the children a level of patience and to understand that whatever they want there and then they can't always get. When you are tired and you've kissed the kids goodnight and you've put them in their bed and they're all tucked up and quiet, this is a good time for you to pick up the phone and speak to friends, family, anyone that you haven't spoken to for a while. The problem with being a single parent, as you know, is that there's a lot of feeling of loneliness. Sometimes you need to share your experiences with others to be able to offload. You can also offload on a blank piece of paper at times when you're finding it very difficult. It's too late to get hold of somebody to offload. If you write your things down that you really feel are bothering you on a plain piece of paper, and then keep it for a time where you can go back and either reflect on it yourself or share with somebody else, that will help you to offload from within you onto the piece of paper, and you will feel a lot better. Another idea is to just prepare yourself a cup of tea and a snack. Take some time out to enjoy food by yourself. Most of the time you'll either eat breakfast with your children, dinner with your children, may even be eating lunch with your children. You've not actually had time to stop and enjoy your meal. You may be busy just trying to get the meal together or feed them physically. So take some time out for a snack. I would like to congratulate all the single parents that have struggled through the difficult times before making a decision of becoming a single parent, that have struggled through the years of raising their children, managing their finances and their homes by themselves, that have struggled through the stigma of society, the finger pointing, the blaming, and the guilt that they have had to live through. I congratulate you all for the hard work that you have done to raise beautiful children. Inshallah, Allah will continue to support you on your path. Please don't feel that you can't reach out. We're here to help.